It's Friday, Feedback Friday, the feedbackiest day of the week. Ha! It's Feedback Friday, and my camera's bouncing because I was dancing in my chair while I was singing. And you can't quite see them, but Lincoln Scouter sleeping in the chair. It's Feedback Friday. This is the second day of feedback this week because there was so much. This video that I'm going to do the feedback for today was demonetized, confirmed by manual review for YouTube. So women standing up for ourselves and saying we're well-rounded people, stop saying we can't be well-rounded people, is not advertiser friendly by YouTube standards. So help support this channel, become a monthly patron, patreon.com/LeannaK. Patreon, you should become a member. Patreon, because keep in mind, these are the advertisers driving YouTube to demonetize all this stuff. YouTube wouldn't be doing it unless they thought they were losing money. And that brings us into one of the sort of common themes on some of the comments on the Kuko and other women on Twitch being harassed because of their not standard policies. Goblin Hero put it best that I saw. Interesting, this is about women being harassed and not Twitch's current rule setup and consistency and enforcement are complete shit. And this has been a really hard thing in figuring this out and coming to an opinion on this. There is no doubt that, see, personally, because I have a lot of life experience being thrown out of things for refusing to just shut up and conform, rule enforcement on anything involving people is, to some extent, inconsistent. I know us rule-oriented people think this is horrible, but I've just seen too much of it. Whenever you have people playing favorites, especially when there's money involved, some people get away with more than others. Now, the question is, has Twitch gone over a line where it's just sort of glaring, they're not even trying to enforce their rules on their more popular personalities? And that's very possible. And I think that's kind of silly. I'm sure part of it is that Twitch is starting to lose some of their bigger personalities to services like Mixer. And so they're kind of panicking. Rule number one, if a business does something stupid, it's because of panic. That is something I've found over and over and over again. There is rarely some sort of Machiavellian motive behind these things. People at businesses just panic. They freak out and they do stupid things. Now, is it a problem that Twitch's rules are obviously not enforced consistently? Yeah, it's a problem. I also think that YouTube's rules are not enforced consistently because there's plenty of music videos on this this service with sexualized lyrics and sexy outfits, and those are monetized somehow. But I talk about it in a self-assured way, and I get demonetized. But these are the way things work. We all have to kind of work its way forward. It would be very hypocritical of me to complain there's a problem and then not accept that, yeah, I'm going to suffer because of those problems. And that's maybe why I'm kind of like, yeah, like, don't confuse my serenity about the unfairness as not seeing the unfairness. I totally do see it as unfair. And I really think that these platforms are just advertiser puritanism. Is everything's being dumbed down to a teenage level because for whatever reason we're in this period now, because we're at peak culture war, that everything is being approached from a shelter the children teenaged mentality. You know, like, for some odd reason, everybody is more afraid of everybody over a certain age, because advertising is all about 50-year-olds asking 40-year-olds what 30-year-olds think 20-year-olds want to watch. That has been true as long as I have been in media. So they are coming at it from a dated viewpoint, whereas a lot of people who are, teenagers or young adults are like, I don't care about boobs. I can get porn on the internet all over the place. I care about actual issues, things like, school shootings. That's what I care about. And so there's definitely a disconnect. And so I'm going to just keep doing what I'm doing and accept that these platforms are unfair and now and leave it there. There was this one comment. I'll do the whole idea of men objectifying women thing. There were a few points of view about this in comments. Brad Gardner said, I get tired of people saying sexy women in fiction equals objectification. Sexy men equals mere power fantasy. They call it sexism when they are the ones who are sexist. I'm like, either male or female are objectified or both are fantasy. Are these people saying they can read the mind of both the author and every reader or whatever the artist and art consume? And that's very true. Like I do know some artists I really, really enjoy. They're seen as sexually objectifying, and I look at their art as, no, they're telling this from a perspective where the woman's the one in power, or it's being told from like a female perspective almost. And that's definitely not the same thing. And people jump the gun. Someone else, and I'm not going to say their name because I don't read the names of people that because of harassment and all that stuff. But this whole idea of, I honestly think this whole distaste for sexual objectification was fabricated by women. Why? Newsflash, all men sexually objectify women. Guys aren't attracted to morals or backstories or whole compositions of well-rounded women. Sexual attraction is 100% superficial for men, no matter how browbeaten men are forced to deny that. Men don't get aroused by content of character or vocational productivity. And then it's not the same for women and will never be. This is absolutely not true on both ends. A person can only talk about themselves. I have spoken to so many people who are not social justicey types. They're kind of pigs, who are basically like, if a woman's dumb, or she can't take care of herself, I'm not interested. There is a maturation that goes on in men, and I mean, I know I've had experiences where someone comes in and they seem very attractive until they open their mouth, and then no, not attractive at all. I don't know where this commenter got this idea. It's not true. It's also not true that women aren't shamelessly attracted to physicality. Oh my God, spend one night with my sister and her friends. It will disabuse you of that thought that women aren't visually stimulated or women don't want the stupid beefcake. Oh my Lord. I don't get it. I'm not that way. Granted, I don't find physically attractive the things women are supposed to anyway, but it's absolutely not true that there isn't a purely physical component with women. It's also not true that men are totally physically stimulated. These are myths. These are absolute myths. Individual men, this commenter clearly is just about tits or whatever thing that gets them going. Other people really aren't. Men and women, gay, straight, and everything in between and beyond. There are plenty of people that are honest to God, not just physically attracted. Ayn Rand had plenty of, extramarital activity sexually. You see pictures of Ayn Rand, it wasn't because of how she looked. It was her presence. She's a shining example of someone who meant, I've seen women, I've known women who are not the most physically attractive women, but they have no trouble getting a date. Charisma is a real thing. The truth is, if you read any of these articles about how to get a guy interested in you, most of it isn't about appearance, Most of it is flattery and support and being positive and appreciating their ideas. So the fact that we still have this persistent idea that there is some weird, rigid wall between the sexes and we are very, very different, that is part of the problem. And even with that physical component, one thing I have really learned about men, because I was thick before thick was a thing. Sorry. I started in television when, size 0 was the average. That was the era where Sarah Jessica Parker was the big glamour queen. And I was a size 10 dress. And I'm like, oh my God, it's a comedy show, but still, it's a show known for sexy ladies. Ugh. And that's when I discovered, no, there are a lot of guys that like, and I'm not big. I'm not plus size. I am, sort of a healthy body weight. But the whole thick thing, THICC, wasn't a popular terminology at the time. And there were still guys going, hey, it's not what people claim it is. And even from a totally cynical, just pure physical attractiveness angle, the market, so to speak, is not being served by what's out there. Even among, and I hate to generalize here, but, my gay male friends who there's a certain kind of, I think, socially enforced superficiality in some segments of gay culture, what they sort of drool over and sort of find visually stimulating, and the people they couple off with, the people they date, the people they form long-term relationships with, it's not the same. And it's not because they can't get a more conventionally attractive person to sleep with them, to form a relationship with them. It's that after a while, when you sort of crack the code of humanity, you realize that it's far more common to see a physically attractive person than it is to find someone who's legitimately interesting, and a good person and caring and smart and all that stuff. And all of a sudden, that, hey, that's nice to look at, but they're not necessarily worth the effort, kicks into play. Very, very conventional, attractive people tend to have a lot of baggage, and they tend to be a unique form of insecure. And a lot of people they don't want to deal with that. They find other things attractive, more attractive than appearance. And that is real. And so I feel very sorry for people who haven't matured to that point. Now, the commenter did go on and say that they don't care if, as they called them, cam thoughts. And it's like, okay, you can't have been around my channel very much because you know how I feel about that term, or you don't. I'm assuming this person doesn't because I'm giving the benefit of the doubt. But, are women who dress sexy on YouTube and Twitch like being predatory? No, I don't think it's predatory any more than I think a guy who knows they're attractive and uses it to get what they want. That is not predatory. That is not the same thing as predatory. That's the word this commenter used. I disagree. One could say it's shameless, but they did also say that they don't believe it should be banned. Now, then they did go on to say, then they're going to get old and that asset's gone and they're going to have to figure out some other way to pursue easy income. And then they said they're in favor of legalizing prostitution. And if you've ever met and talked to successful prostitutes, it really doesn't have as much to do with being drop dead gorgeous. It really is a service thing. It's a psychological thing. There are older women who are sex workers. There are women who are not the most conventionally attractive, who are very, very successful sex workers who have a lot of repeat clientele. And it's because they've cracked that psychological angle on it. They know how to provide good services in their field. That matters. That really matters. I mean, look at the whole Golden Girl resurgence that we're going through right now. I bet there's plenty of people out there, men and women alike, who find at least one Golden Girl sexy. And that's going to be my challenge. You can comment and you can be with me and you can admit that one or all of the Golden Girls are sexy. Because, I mean, Blanche, Rue McClanahan's character, was all about her sexuality, right? That was a big thing at the time. But all those women were incredibly vivacious. And I know there are people that find the Golden Girl sexy. So I want to see the brave people who are willing to admit it, like me. I mean, B. Arthur had a real swag about her. I loved B. Arthur as a kid. I liked Rose in her own way. Like, Rose was cute, but B. Arthur just had something about her. Like, she carried herself with such dignity and such presence, and like, come on, that's attractive. That's attractive. Oh, hi, Linky. Do you think the Golden Girls are attractive, Linky? Yeah. Oh, you nodded? Okay, come say hi for a bye-bye. Come say hi. To say bye-bye. You don't come on camera very often, Linky, because you're kind of shy. Here's the Linky. Linky likes the Golden Girls, right? Yeah, there's Linky. Yeah. How you doing, Link? Oh, yeah, you like to be this. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Say bye, Linky. Bye-bye. Everybody have a good weekend. Oh, you're sleepy, huh? You're sleepy. Yeah. Oh, Linky. See? This is why we come together. That and video games. Okay, everybody, you know what's coming. Patreon. You should become a member. Patreon. And yes, that is the sting from Gloria. Help support this channel, become a monthly patron. I could really use the support because of all the demonetization. Patreon.com/Leanna K. Thanks for watching.